Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
You know, there are lots of great coaches out there that help navigate you through life, overcome some of those challenges. I used to call them mountains. I always make them molehills now, speed bumps, speed bumps. We can get over them. Sometimes you need some help. And those people are great. But imagine taking it from the standpoint of somebody helping you that's got intuition that almost has a running start to get you over that speed bump because she has read your energy, knows what's really going on with inside of you. I found her. She's right here. Tiffinnea Roberts joins us here again. Welcome back. How you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. And by the way, if you want to reach out to us, instantfeedbacksteve@gmail.com, instantfeedbacksteve@gmail.com, or 631-319-6275, 631-319-6275. So this word intuitive, I think, intrigues a lot of people because they may think, wait, she's kind of a psychic. How is she doing that? Is she going to tell my future? Is she pulling people from the other side in terms of working with me? How do you define intuitive?
Okay, so first of all, I believe in free will, so I don't believe in the whole psychic. I believe in understanding energy and being able to see what's going to happen because you understand the energy. But people always have free will, so when you get gut feelings and the inner feelings or intuitive feelings with knowing that you have free will, there's warning signs so you can change your path in the future. So I don't really believe in psychics.
Oh, can I ask you a question since we're there? I don't want to go back to it. And your belief is your belief, and that's fantastic. I'm intrigued. If a psychic is before you and pulls out information from you or somebody else, and it's obvious, there's no way they could have found that out going on, social media, Googling or whatever. How do they do that? In your opinion, how do they do that?
Through intuition. This is where this is coming in from, because I do that quite often. I've been able to go into people's lives. This one woman, she really didn't believe in readings. I wanted to go see her because I wanted a skill that she could teach me, and I wanted to trade. I was able to pinpoint like there was something happening in the house with the water. And I was like, you need to stay home tomorrow. And she's like, I have to work. I can't stay home. And she's like, I don't have time for this. And I'm like, I really think you should stay home. There's something happening and it could take all your money away. It's just showing water, just taking all your money. And she was like, what? Like, this doesn't even make sense. And so she said, okay, goodbye. Thank you. And the next day she said that she just had this awful feeling. And so she went home at lunchtime and she just heard this weird, like just running of water and she couldn't find it. So and then she realized, she went outside and she went, and under her house, there was like flooding. So she called somebody and they said, if you would have went back to work and called us even like 10 minutes, an hour later, you would have broke all the pipes down the street. And so she would have had to pay for all of that.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah, she called. I wasn't still here, but I traveled the next day, but she called my sister and was like, where's your sister? And so there are certain people that say, okay, so Tiffinnea is psychic, or people like this are psychic. I just believe it's coming from, because I'm sensing the energy, and we're all connected. Everything is really connected. Of course, we live in a 3D world. We can't just walk around through everything. We're going to bump into things. So we do live in a world where there's, laws of the things and the way we perceive things, but we are much more than this. And if you can find ways of like mostly calming the mind, I would say. And I do believe there's a lot of questions if there's a belief that you're born with this or you have this and other people don't have it. I believe this is a skill that can be learned, and anyone can harness this skill. I help train other people harness the skill for themselves. They'll come see me and they'll be like, how do you do that? I'm like, well, I could teach you. And some people, it might take a little bit longer,
Sure.
And some people get it right away, and they'll be like, oh, I think I was doing that before. But it really comes down from being able to listen. And I don't mean hearing things around you.
No, and we're going to go to a call, but I know what you're talking about. And I believe the same thing. We all have intuition. Some of us are able to focus on it more, or if it's not focus on it more, it's block the stuff around it out so it stands out, and you see those signs and you experience that energy. I think we have a call. Who's this?
Jordan?
You said Jordan, right?
Yes, correct.
Cool. Jordan is checking in from Oakland, California. Tiffinnea is here. You have a question?
Yeah, so the question that I had was, like, what are some different practices or exercises that I can use to help strengthen my intuition?
What are some, sorry, practices?
Yeah, some things that he can use
exercises
to increase his intuition.
There are many practices. I would definitely go with one that makes you feel great from within. These can be from anything from breath work, from yoga. There's practices within, like, you could join things like, the Silva Mind method, which is great. I really believe in this. But teaching your body how to get to theta, which is like calming the mind and just really relaxing yourself. There's many on the web out everywhere. There's so many different practices. I truly really like the Silva method because it's been around so long. There's other things like yoga, breath work is amazing. But I suggest really finding a tribe, like a good environment, because you are your environment. So if you're going to go somewhere and learn something for an hour a week, and then you're going to go back to your environment where this is not accepted, or it's made fun of, or you're different, or you're not allowed to talk about it, it's going to maybe undo, or even like it maybe make it even harder for you to move forward with strengthening your intuition. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, 100%. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jordan. Thanks for checking in. Yeah, it's almost as if somebody is wanting to lose weight. They started working out. They're on a great diet program. And then you say, hey, let's go to the bakery. Come on, follow me. Let's go. You're going back into that environment, which is not going to support what your goals are. You say that, and I totally understand it, but it's easier said than done to perfect meditation and just finding that quiet space so that you can see the intuition that is around you. It's not easy.
No, it's not. I would really, if I could help people, like the most people, with something, it would really be living authentically. And so it's not just about, you're never going to perfect meditation. It's not just about finding something and being super good at it and mastering it. It's more about mastering who you are.
It's all of it. It's all of it.
There's so much in our lives that happens once we start living authentically, once we start saying no to the things we truly want to say no to, yes to the things that we really want to say yes to. Our lives just, you'll feel your energy, you'll feel your aura just
And this happens often when there's somebody that has certain type of energy that's very strong. So this has never happened before. We've gotten together. And then she's back. All right, we had a glitch in the video and the audio. I'm not surprised, it happens, especially when we're talking about energy and there's energy exchange and all of that going on there. I hear what you're saying. You can't just say, all right, I'm going to learn how to meditate and maybe you got pretty good at it and you get to that zone and that place. But if you're not living from a place of authenticity from within, you're going to be off balance. You have to really, it has to be a 360 approach to it if you want to increase your intuition. For you, Tiffinnea, when you want to, let's say, get insight on somebody, pick up on them, read their energy, are you meditating beforehand? How are you preparing for it?
Well, sometimes I have to do before and after.
Hmm.
Always before, because my life is filled with energies that don't need to be in the space of other people's. Like maybe something happened in my life that, oh, I'm thinking about it, whether it's positively or negatively, whatever it is, I don't want to bring that in something else. So before, especially sessions or somebody comes to me, I I definitely have my own form of like prayer meditation. And sometimes I feel inclined to maybe dance out the meditation, do a um, like a movement meditation for a bit. It really depends. Like I'll feel into the energy and then it just works its way out. Maybe there's a little bit of movement, or maybe it's just a kind prayer to myself or for the people that are coming into the space. And sometimes after I have a session, I'm like, whoa, I need to, release some of that. I need to make sure that I protect my own self and my own energy and the people that I go on to see throughout the day. Because if you don't protect yourself, then you're just carrying all this energy from everywhere. And it's this is where things could happen. Like maybe you're not going to be your usual self. Maybe you're not going to be very kind to somebody else, or maybe you're not going to feel good physically, not just mentally, but or emotionally, but also physically, right? This is where illness could come in. When I first started doing energy work, I would notice that I would get sick after sessions. And then I went to somebody who also does energy work, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, are you not clearing their energy after they leave?" And I was only clearing my energy before they came in, but not afterwards. And
Hmm.
that I felt I've gotten better with that. That was many years ago, but it was a real thing that I was like, "Oh, if they had a headache, I had a headache. If they had a sore back, I had a sore back." It was Yeah, it's
Wow.
right. It even sounds funny to me now, but it's just the way it is. And I think many energy workers or light workers, I sure could uh,
Relate
yeah,
to that.
really.
That's it. Yeah. I mean, I just had a conversation with somebody yesterday, and we were talking about energy vampires, where somebody has a low vibration and they're just looking for something to bring them up, and they just literally, I guess you would say literally, suck the energy out of somebody else.
Yeah, I find sometimes if I'm having like a meditation with more than one person, if there's a group meditation, there might be somebody who has this energy going on. And they'll stop the meditation for everybody to listen to them. And I felt something, and I know something, and I have a story I need to share with you guys right now. And it's unfortunate because it stops others from experiencing, their wholeness and their authentic, being in that moment. But they're there for a reason, right? And I,
Hmm.
I think I think the term vampires is a little harsh. I understand where it's coming from, and sometimes, you could probably think of other words too. But they need they need their energy to be found just like anybody else's, right? Uh, and I know like a lot of people will be like, "Oh, I've got to run from them," and sometimes you do because people will not in this human experience we're not going to help ourselves unless we see the need or reason to do it. So some people, whether you want to call them energy vampires or not, they're not ready to stay out of that state. They're not looking for help.
Hmm.
They're looking to, satisfy something. And so it's, yeah, I have like mixed feelings because you want to help, but at the end of the day, chances are they're not ready to receive the help yet.
I think we have another call. Hi, who's this?
I'm James.
James?
Yes.
No, appreciate you checking in and connecting with Tiffinnea today. James is in Ocala. Which question?
Yeah, really interesting topic. I wanted to know how I can differentiate between intuition and thoughts that are just based on fear.
Okay. Yeah. So for me, when I'm questioning, okay, is this what I'm thinking intuitively, or is this like my ego, or is this my fear coming in? I'm going to do a little bit of emotional tracking. When I have this thought, what emotion do I have towards it? And if you have an emotion, if you could sense an emotion, chances are it's not your intuition. Your intuition isn't coming from an emotional state. It's coming from within, and there's no bias with it.
Wow, that's a tough one to differentiate and or block, what could be emotion. Wow, I think we all need to try that. That's one of those you don't know until you know at that moment.
And it takes practice, right? Like,
Wow, James, does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, a lot of good questions today. Wow, you guys are making me look bad. I got to step it up. When we say soul alignment coach, what do you mean by that?
so basically, it is, I like to use the word trainer, I guess, more than coach. I think coach is everywhere. So what I do is I help take somebody through training or a journey of really connecting back to their authentic selves. So they're becoming aligned with their soul, which is
Gotcha.
who they are authentically. And it's so important, especially nowadays, because there's so many of us that we live in this world where we're told how we're supposed to live, what's supposed to make us happy, what's supposed to make us unhappy, what fears we should have. All of these things that are coming from outside of us, that it's hard for us to say, well, do I like this? Is this what I want? Why do I feel bad? And so many illnesses are coming up nowadays. Illnesses and emotional stress from not living true, like authentically, right? There's like our school system teaches us what we should think, what we should know. And if we don't know this, then, oh, like we're not very smart. So it puts limitations on how intelligent we are, right? How much money we'll eventually make, where and how we should be living. And this causes the body inside to feel uncomfortable, especially when it's not aligned with who you are and your purpose, because everybody's come with a purpose. Before we came to this journey, you had a purpose. I truly believe that you decided to come here. You decided your parents, you decided your path. And some people might say, well, that's not true. I didn't get along with my parents. Well, you probably wanted to learn something from that experience. Just because you chose an experience or a path or this human existence when and you did, doesn't mean that you were trying to find every single beautiful experience there was. There's experiences that we learn from that aren't maybe ideal or perfect, if there is perfect.
Do you believe in what some describe as a soul contract?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Where it's a contract was made with you, your soul, at another time, and it's kind of ironclad. You're fulfilling your contract, whatever that might be, and that is part of your journey. I want to ask you about something you said a second ago, and that is that you help people align with their soul to be their most authentic self, or get back to it. You said get back to it. Are we at that point at some point, and then we veer off course because life energy, things get in the way?
I believe so. I believe when we come as children, we are, but the experiences in our environment creates the idea that it is okay to be your authentic self, or the idea that it is not okay to be your authentic self. There are some people that I've known since we were little children, and they are still, oh my gosh, they haven't driven apart from who they are at all. They are still that person, and they look incredibly happy.
Hmm.
They're just like, no, and they have no problem saying no to certain things and really going after other things that they want. I truly believe they have found and they have been allowed to live their true authentic self and their being and express who they are to the outside world. So whether you came from a culture or family that embraced who you are and your differences, or you didn't, you can get there. It's really from listening from within. I do believe it's important to have a tribe, or have, like, I even have my own coaches for this, because they help with accountability as well, right? Getting you back on track. And why do I feel this way? Or which decisions am I making that really aren't aligned with me?
Do you think
Um,
two babies are born and they're exactly the same? All right, different backgrounds, et cetera, et cetera. Let's say they're both healthy. They're essentially the same in that they haven't had any experiences aside from, if you want to say that babies experience things in the wombs and that shapes us. Some believe that, but they're both the same until life begins. And then this one experiences something from their parents, that one, life here, life here, life here, to the point where now they're different and they have different energy, different connections to their spirit because of those influences around them. Is that basically how this all works?
um, I do believe that I do believe that we can experience things in the womb for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I do believe that it's not all about, like, we're not coming with our purpose, and we're not like developing that once we're born. We had that because we're a spirit before we're born, right? This is a human existence. So our spirit has a purpose, and it was brought into a human experience, but the purpose is still there. A lot of people even believe, like, they'll talk about how your purpose is to find your purpose, right? There's a bit of that out there. I don't believe that our purpose starts becoming developed once we're here and we learn and we're experiencing things. I believe we already have a purpose. I would say that's my belief.
And that our purpose is predetermined, and it's why question here. Why is it so hard? All right, somebody doesn't know what their purpose in life is. But if we believe that we were given these tools and gifts, maybe even before birth, of what our purpose is, we go through life trying to figure out what our purpose is. Why does it have to be so hard? Because what is your purpose? It's, I believe, to help others to learn and teach. And by doing that, you're helping others. But why the heck has it got to be so hard to find it, figure it out?
I think there's many answers to that. One of them would be that we are told to be likable, we need to be people pleasers.
Okay, well okay, thank you. That goes back to, what I was alluding to before, in that our life experiences. Why are some people pleasers? Let's say their childhood dictated that. Let's say one of the parents didn't give them a lot of attention, so now they have to make up for it, or whatever the condition was that they feel that and this is kind of universal for most of us, that we feel we're not good enough. So what do? We make up for it, trying to help people, trying to please them.
For sure. And living a life trying to please everybody else, whether you might think like, well, this is really what it means to be a good person or to be nice. But it's not. You're going to be setting up yourself for a very difficult life then, and probably a life that is going to be you're going to be unhealthy both emotionally and physically, because when we're living unauthentically, what happens is there's stress in the body, and stress creates disease. So for those of you that read the book, I don't know if you've read it, but The Body Says No. It's talking about how your body will, there's an area in the book that it talks about your body will start to say no to you, because if you're not saying no, the body will start saying no to you, and it'll come out in your health. Maybe your back will start hurting. Maybe you're going to get constant headaches, whatever it is. And that's why you hear a lot of people right before their spiritual awakening or whatever they feel, their body or their life decided they had to change. And a lot of it was, oh, I got in this accident and I knew my life had to change right there. I couldn't keep living the way I was. Or they got really sick and they were in the hospital and they decided, I'm dying because I'm not living my real life. Like this is the universe and life's finding a way to say no to me. Because I'm not saying no and yes for my authentic selves, and I'm not living my purpose.
Totally agree. It's so true. And if you feel out of sorts, something's not right, or there's more for you out there, you're probably not living your true authentic self. Because like a piece of wood, you're going against the grain. If you want to sand a piece of wood and make it just perfect, if you sand against the grain, it's going to look horrible. You have to go with the grain. Going with the grain is going with what's inside of you and accepting it. Got to go in that direction. Can't fight it, because eventually it'll fight you. It's the law of the universe, I guess.
And I think it's important for people that are feeling that, is this it? Is this all life is? Like, yep. I thought I was meant for more. Well, then you are, probably at, a moment in your life where you need to be listening to that, and you are meant for more. If you're feeling or even questioning if you were meant for more, then yes, you were.
That means it's time to go to intuitiveenergyacademy.com and time for that awakening and learn more of this, because it's the real deal. And these are the answers. You're looking for the answers. It comes from somebody like yourself being intuitive and walking that journey with somebody else and helping them understand what's going on. Intuitiveenergyacademy.com. I have that right, correct?
Yes.
Perfect.
Intuitiveenergyacademy.com.
Yeah. Tiffinnea, great having you on today. A lot of awesome insight. And I think we made a lot of people think today about life and themselves.
Awesome. I hope so.
I know so. Thank you so much for being here. We'll catch up next time, okay?
Bye for now.
Thanks. We'll be right back.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.